Well, that's a look at how new cuts are developed here in the Culinary Center. The next step is coming up with a wonderful beef recipe. And joining us now is Chris Geigel with the Beef Culinary team. Chris, you've piqued my interest with beer, beef, cheese, and apples here. Tell me what you got going.
So this is one of the newer recipes we developed here. It's called our beef and kale Queso Fundido. It's basically a beer and cheese dip with a beefy twist.
Outstanding.
So I'll show you how to make that here.
Okay.
Just I'm going to turn on my frying pan.
Sure.
So you start with a little beer, and who doesn't love that?
Okay.
We're using a craft beer here in Colorado. Beer's really big, so I picked a local craft beer, but you can use your favorite beer. So that's going to go into the frying pan.
All right. Yeah, there's lots of places you can find that here.
And then diced tomatoes with some diced chilies in it. I used a mild, but if you like it spicy, you can use the hot version.
Okay.
So that's going to go in here too.
Like a can of that?
1 can of that.
Sure.
I'm going to stir that up a little bit.
Okay. Are we trying to boil that, or how hot are we bringing that?
We're trying to bring it to a boil. So while that's working and heating up, I'm going to have my bowl of cheese here. It's 2 cups of shredded Mexican blend cheese.
Sure.
You can use a low-fat version if you're looking to be a little healthier, but this is full fat here because we love our flavor.
That's right.
I'm going to add a little cornstarch to that and toss that around. It helps keep the cheese separate. It also helps to thicken up your fundido.
Oh, I'll be darned. Okay.
So I'm going to toss that around. So this isn't quite hot yet, so I'm going to set that aside.
Okay.
Also going into this is any leftover ground beef or beef that you have. So you can use pot roast.
Yep.
You can use ground beef. We have some steaks here that were left over from our dinner the other night. So you can take one of those and cut it up here.
Cut it up in small slices.
Little small pieces.
And you're going to put that in before the cheese typically?
We're going to put it in at the end, but since that's not hot yet, we're just going to chop it up now.
That's great. So just any, I mean, you're telling us that any beef item that you have in your refrigerator, I mean, you're not picky, it's just kind of...
Not picky.
Yeah.
So any beef item you have left over, you can use.
Yeah.
So this is starting to boil here, as you can see.
Sure.
Once it comes to a boil, we're going to add our cheese a little bit at a time.
All right.
So about half a cup at a time.
All right.
Add that, stir it in.
Let that melt, huh?
We want to let it melt. We don't want to add too much at one time and have a clump up on it.
Right, right. And how much cornstarch did you say you normally put in there?
It's a tablespoon to the 2 cups of cheese that we put in there.
No doubt.
Add a little more cheese now that that's melted.
Yeah. Thickening up pretty good, huh?
Yeah, the cornstarch helps that, and you can see the cheese is starting to melt and get all stringy here.
So this is a recipe you all actually created here in the kitchen.
It is. Yeah. It was a trial of love.
Is that right?
A lot of iterations to get it to a point that was easy and turned out really well. But you know, that's kind of what we do here. All of our recipes are at least triple tested. So
that's neat.
Gonna add the rest of that cheese in there.
Yeah, that's looking good now.
It's getting nice and thick.
Oh yeah.
And so once all the cheese melts and starts to bubble a little bit, we're gonna add whichever beef we choose. I'm gonna use the steaks and just chop that up. If we got
steak, let's use steak. That's my attitude.
So I'm just gonna pour this in here.
Okay.
And also, we're gonna add a little bit of chopped kale to this. It helps to add a really nice color, and it's also really good for you. So.
Well, tell me more about it. I mean, I hear about kale a lot. It's in lots of nutrition magazines.
Sure.
Why is that becoming so popular, Chris?
Kale's really popular because green leafy vegetables in general are super high in most nutrients that you need. So it just became the really big food right now because it's really good for you, and you can do it's very versatile.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to add all of this in, just a little bit here.
Gotcha.
I'm going to just turn down my heat a little bit.
Sure.
Stir that in.
Look at that. Boy, that's quick too.
That's quick, and that's done. You just want to make sure that you bring your beef up to temperature. So once it's kind of together and you add your steak, you want to cook it for about 3 to 5 minutes to make sure your leftover beef comes to at least 165 degrees.
Okay, gotcha. That does look nice with that, yeah.
A little color. You see the beef in there?
Sure.
So I'm just going to put some in the serving bowl here.
Sure. Look at that.
And there you have it. And you can serve it with your favorite things. If you want to be a little healthier, you can do carrots, celery, and apples. If you want to be a little more traditional, there's some pita and tortilla chips here.
Outstanding. And again, if people are looking this up on their website, they're looking for what?
The beef and kale queso fundido.
Very good. Thank you so much for all your good work and for bringing us this great recipe.
Our pleasure.
For this and other outstanding beef recipes, visit the website beefitswhatsfordinner.com. Or you can always find video replays in the recipe section of our website, cattlemen@cattlemen.org.